Kobe, not Shaq. And he wasn't trying to hear that. He wanted to emulate Kobe in every way. That means severing ties with LeBron James, like Kobe severed ties with Shaq. That's what Kyrie Irving wanted to do. And he wanted out. And the impression was given upon his departure, they didn't want to be that guy. Did he consult with LeBron? No. Did he call LeBron to give LeBron a heads up that he wanted out of Cleveland? No. When he came on my show, First Take on ESPN, upon his departure to Boston, he said, what do I need to call LeBron for? It's not necessary. It's not like I need his permission. This is what Kyrie Irving did. And so it was kind of shocking to hear this from him in the aftermath of last night's victory over the Toronto Raptors. Listen to Kyrie Irving.
You know, I apologize for being that young player that wanted to everything at his fingertips, and I wanted everything to be at, my threshold. I wanted to be the guy that led us to championship. I wanted to be the leader. I wanted to be all that, and the responsibility of being the best player in the world and leading a team is something that's not meant for many people. And Bron was one of those guys that came to Cleveland and tried to show us what it's like to win a championship, and it was hard for him. Sometimes getting the most out of the group, it's not the easiest thing in the world, and like I said, only few are meant for it or chosen for it, and I feel like the best person to call was him because, he's been in this situation.
You heard him? It was Kyrie Irving. Unsolicited, brought up LeBron James' name, said he called LeBron James and apologized because he didn't quite understand what LeBron James was doing when LeBron James was trying to lead them to championships. He didn't quite understand. He didn't quite appreciate it. Now, just to give you some backdrop, LeBron James is the best player in the world when healthy. LeBron James is an individual that is the biggest iconic brand, arguably, in the entire world of sports. That includes Ronaldo, Tiger, and everything in between. That's how large LeBron James is in the eyes of some people. And because he's that large, there's a certain level of treatment that comes with that. There's LeBron treatment, and then there's everybody else around him, which was hard for somebody like Kyrie Irving to take. But the reason why you saw Kyrie Irving speak up the way that he did last night is because Kyrie Irving finds himself in a leadership role with the Boston Celtics. He's a champion. He knows what it takes to capture a championship. Not only did he witness it firsthand, he helped accomplish it firsthand. See that jump over Steph Curry to seal the deal. LeBron James was somebody that called that play. LeBron James was somebody that said, okay, give it to this brother in this particular situation to close the deal. That's the right way to go. Steph Curry's hobbled, can't defend the way he customarily can. He's not 100%. Kyrie's nasty. He could take advantage of Steph Curry. Even if he was healthy, let him do it. That's what you're talking about there. And so Kyrie Irving evidently reminisced about all of that. And in the throes of situations with the Boston Celtics this year that dare we say are a bit uncomfortable, where the winning has not been as continuous as one suspected it would be, where you're having a multitude of team meetings and player-only meetings without the coach, Brad Stevens, where mistakes are made on the court and you calling out guys like a Jason Tatum or even a coach like Brad Stevens, where Jaylen Brown gets interviewed post-game and after a loss to Brooklyn, and he's talking about how the guys just have to stick together and there shouldn't be any pointing of fingers, and we got to be beyond that and what have you, forcing Kyrie Irving to take a step back and reflect about how he might choose to handle things because everybody doesn't receive it the same. Then he goes on the court last night, puts a dagger in the Toronto Raptors with that 28-foot three from beyond the free throw line, beyond the arc, over Kawhi Leonard, I might add. Kyrie Irving shows up post-game and essentially says, here, I understand now. I understand. Now, I've always been somebody that defended Kyrie because I think that he has a right to have that attitude. He had a right to sit up there and say, look, I want more than what I'm getting here in Cleveland. But there is no doubt that shade was thrown in the direction of LeBron James. Because I know for me personally, and I've said this on national television, you're damn right I'm looking at LeBron. Because if you're the star and people don't want to play with you, that's a problem. That's a problem. And I'm not going to completely absolve anybody from that when you are the superstar. You got to ingratiate yourself with guys enough where they want to be around you. They want to be teammates with you. They want to go to war with you. They want to win with you. They don't mind losing with you. All of those things matter. But you know what Kyrie's words meant last night? Maybe a lot of us were too hard on LeBron James. That would include me. I pride myself in being fair, ladies and gentlemen. I ain't interested in the pomp and circumstances or maintaining a position because it's good TV or radio or whatever. I don't give a damn about any of that. Right is right, wrong is wrong. I tell you what I believe and feel based on the evidence accorded to me. But I'll tell you this. When Kyrie said that last night, I found myself looking at LeBron a little bit differently. I found myself looking at LeBron like he was somewhat of a victim. You got the world thrusted on your shoulders. You've answered the challenge. You know what you're going for. You went back to Cleveland to erase a curse that spanned a half century. And after 52-year drought of a championship in any sport in the city of Cleveland, you were the one that ended that drought. The Browns couldn't win. The Cavs couldn't win. The Indians couldn't win. Hell, for all we know, your minor league team couldn't win. But still in all, you go back and you erase the curse that had plagued that area and brought a championship to it. That's what you did, LeBron James. And in order to do that, you needed help from guys. And you had to bring guys along. Could you have done things a little bit differently? I'm sure nobody's perfect. But when Kyrie said what he said yesterday, it highlighted for me as a reminder of how difficult it is to lead, how difficult it is to galvanize troops, how difficult it is to get everybody to be on the same page and to do the things that need to be done so we can all flourish. That's what Kyrie Irving is saying LeBron James did for him. Now, it might be self-serving because, as my man Max Kellerman pointed out this morning on First Take, 10 a.m. to noon Eastern Time, 7 to 9 a.m. Pacific. He said, hey, it's definitely self-serving to some degree because Kyrie's probably saying to his teammates, look, what I'm acknowledging about LeBron, one day you'll find yourself acknowledging about me if you're smart enough to listen to what I'm trying to tell you because I'm trying to win a chip. And as we're on this subject, let's go a step further and ask ourselves, why the urgency? Of course, it's the middle of the season. Of course, every season counts. Of course, tomorrow is not promised. All of those things are true. But here's the reason why. If you're Kyrie Irving, not only are you trying to win a championship because you want a championship, you might be trying to win a championship now because you might be leaving. Because you remember what Kyrie Irving said to those fans in Boston prior to the season? I would love to stay here, and I'm looking forward to having a long, prosperous career here. I'm paraphrasing. A long, prosperous career here, if you will have me. What does that mean, ladies and gentlemen? You know what that means. If you're going to give me the max, I'm here. If you're not, maybe not. Boston Celtics got Terry Rozier. We saw what he did in the playoffs last year. They got Marcus Smart. They got Jason Tatum. They got Al Horford. Now Gordon Hayward's back healthy. You're the Boston Celtics. As much of a showman as Kyrie Irving is, as spectacular as he is, the reality of the situation is, do you give him that money? Or do you let him walk away and position yourself to get Anthony Davis? Or better yet, do you wait until this summer when somehow you could package? You just never know. If you're the Boston Celtics, anything's up for grabs. This Danny Ainge we're talking about here. I mean, this is the guy that just pulled off the heist against Brian Colangelo. when he sat up there and convinced Colangelo that he would want Markelle Fultz when he knew there was no way in hell he would want Markelle Fultz. Colangelo wanted Markelle Fultz. So what did he do? Sixers got the number 3 overall pick. Your GM, your president of basketball operations, Brian Colangelo, decides to trade 2 spots up. Switch picks, flop picks, from 3 to 1, giving Boston a 3rd overall pick so he could get Markelle Fultz. But Danny Ainge also got a 1st-round pick from Brian Colangelo out of that. And Markelle Fultz, at this moment in time, may end up going down as the biggest number 1 overall bust in history. I mean, I'm talking about a disaster of epic proportions. Epic. I mean, worse than Kwame Brown or Michael Olowokandi or Anthony Bennett. I'm talking some of the most disastrous number 1 overall picks in NBA history. Markelle Fultz might end up eclipsing them all. Now, the brother can play. The brother can play. Markelle Fultz is no scrub. I don't know what the hell happened to his jump shot. I mean, it's like a hitch. It's worse than Charles Barkley golfing. The hitch is that damn bad. But having said all of that, what makes it considerably worse is the fact that the brother's got psychological issues. Whatever's going on inside of his head has so drastically affected his game. He's impotent offensively. He has nothing to offer. It is an unmitigated disaster. That is Markelle Fultz's situation. And it's sad because him being ready to ball is exactly what the Sixers would need to truly, truly challenge in the Eastern Conference. Joel Embiid is a superstar in the making. Ben Simmons is a jump shot away from being LeBron James Part 2. J.J. Redick can ball. Can flat out ball. By the way, I want to be on the record stating this. I think J.J. Redick's underpaid. I think J.J. Redick is underpaid. I'm going to tell you that right now. I look at J.J. Redick. I watch him shoot the basketball. I see how much the Sixers desperately need that shooting. And the fact that he's the one reliable person that can give it to them. And I say to myself, damn. He was getting paid $23 million last year. He signs a deal for $12.250 million for this season. And then, obviously he comes off the books. J.J. Redick's worth more than that. In today's NBA economy, J.J. Redick and his ability to shoot the basketball, particularly coming off screens and picks and what have you, I think J.J. Redick is worth a minimum of $17, $18 million per year. A minimum. He's that good of a shooter. He's that good. And he's a consummate professional. You can rely on him. So I think those are the things that you got to look at. I mean, we know what T.J. McConnell can do. I'm proud of that little brother. Little Energizer Bunny. By the way, he's at $1.6 million. Grossly underpaid. Little small dude in the NBA. Little Energizer Bunny. Beats you with effort, et cetera, et cetera. Smart, knows how to play the game. Trusted by Coach Brett Brown. Shows up in the postseason. T.J. McConnell should be paid more than that, too. So Sixers got 2 guys that are underpaid. But Markelle Fultz, if he was giving you anything, the Sixers would be more formidable. That's not the case. So it's about Boston. It's about Milwaukee. It's about Toronto. Which makes Kyrie Irving's statement that much more profound. And as a result, I think Boston's going to be better for it. I think Kyrie's going to be better for that. Kyrie plays games like this. If Kyrie going to give you 12, 13, 14 assists, 18, some games like he did last night, look out, y'all. Boston's coming. Boston's coming. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. One of the other things I wanted to get into was James Harden. Y'all are excited about it. Second game, he's had over 50. Was it like 20th consecutive game he's had over 30? He's averaging over 40 over the last 18 to 20 games. James Harden is the most unstoppable offensive player in basketball. He's the most unstoppable offensive player in basketball. But I'm here to tell you, it's not a good thing. Because if James Harden keeps going at this pace, he's going to have nothing left come postseason time. Boy, I hope Chris Paul is ready. Because I said it before, and I'm going to say it again. And you are listening, ladies and gentlemen, to somebody who loves himself some Chris Paul. Chris Paul is one of the great, great point guards of this generation. As far as I'm concerned, he is a future Hall of Famer. Just an outstanding point guard. What you want and what you need from a point guard, what he does on both ends of the court is just phenomenal. Just phenomenal when healthy. Here's the problem. He usually gets hurt at the wrong and most inopportune of times. And I do say this with all due respect. Chris Paul was wrong to take every cent of the max that he took 4 years, $160 million from Daryl Morey and the Houston Rockets. This is the first year that Chris Paul is in. He's already missed 17, 18 games. We don't know when he's going to come back, how healthy he's going to be. And I'm here to tell you something right now. If Chris Paul takes about $2 million less per year, guess what? Trevor Ariza stays in Houston. Trevor Ariza went to Phoenix, who's now in Washington, by the way, with the Wizards. Trevor Ariza went to Phoenix on a one-year deal for $15 million. I got news for you. If the Houston Rockets had offered Trevor 12, he would have stayed. And they could have offered him that if Chris Paul had taken less. He didn't. He wanted his money. And I guess you can understand that because money's money, A, and B, when you pass up about $205 million to $207 million from Steve Ballmer and the Los Angeles Clippers, when you pass up that amount of money to walk away and go to play with James Harden, you walk away from Doc Rivers. I got news for you. That's a problem. So Chris Paul's got to come back. And you want me to tell you how Houston must be feeling? Houston, let's call it what it is. They don't give a damn what Chris Paul thinks right now. I'm going to tell you why. Did you consult with him when you decided to let go of Melo? No. Oh, by the way, did you consult with him when you brought Austin Rivers on the team? Austin Rivers. I like Austin Rivers. Chris Paul did it, according to reports. He didn't like Austin Rivers. Let me take that back, calling reports. I'm telling you, he didn't like Austin Rivers. Part of the problem he had with Doc Rivers and Austin Rivers with the Clippers. When that was that altercation in the locker room and stuff like that. That was about Austin Rivers and Chris Paul trying to go at it. And the Houston Rockets brought Austin Rivers there when Chris Paul went down anyway. What that says to me is Chris Paul got to get healthy. Chris Paul has to get back on the court, and he's got to help James Harden, which I have no doubt he will do. Chris Paul healthy. Houston Rockets is going to be there. I think the only team standing in their way would be Golden State. The problem is I don't think he'll stay healthy, and I hope I'm wrong because I don't root against him. I got love for Chris Paul, but not as much love for him as I got for his family. Wonderful, wonderful family. His brother CJ's good people. His dad and his mom love the Paul family. They're phenomenal. Love him. Just saw his dad at the Cowboys-Rams game. Gave him a big hug. Love Mr. Paul. He's the real deal. But Chris Paul, if he's healthy, he ain't healthy. There's nothing he can do about that. But if he's healthy, he's got to show out. Because if he doesn't, you can't ask James Harden to handle all of this by himself and expect a championship from that. That's not right. He's only human. I don't know how much more James Harden could do. I really don't. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. That was Straight Talk Wireless. Nationwide coverage of America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks. When you're hiring, you don't want to waste time sorting through dozens of irrelevant